There's no doubt we have made tremendous progress in terms of gender equality in the last few decades. However, women continue to be underrepresented at top leadership and political levels. As you can see in this graph from Catalyst Research, although women comprise of 46.9% of the US labor force, the percentage of women in top leadership positions, such as Fortune 500 CEOs, remains quite low, at 4.2%. Politically, across the world, only 20% of members of parliament are female, and of the 193 nations across the world, only 17 are led by women, with examples including Brazil, Argentina, Malawi, and Thailand. These are no doubt incredibly smart, accomplished, and ambitious women. Their success seems even more astonishing when we consider that they were able to achieve it in a highly male-dominated environment. But are these women inspiring models for us? In other words, how do women with leadership aspirations react to such incredibly successful women? The answer to this question is not always clear, and there's actually been a debate between two points of view. On the one hand, we may be inspired by their success because we feel that we can do it too. But on the other hand, we may feel threatened or discouraged because we fear that we can never achieve what they did. This debate is actually what inspired the research that I conducted in collaboration with Marianne Schmid-Mast and Dario Bombari from the University of Neuchâtel in Switzerland and Joris Lammers from Cologne University in Germany. And we were specifically interested in the effects of exposures to highly successful female role models on women's actual behavior and performance during a leadership task. So we brought 149 participants, male and female, to the lab, and we asked them to give a persuasive speech. This was a speech on a political issue at the university. They had to argue convincingly against an increase of student fees. Now, giving a speech is usually a highly stressful task that is typical of many leadership positions. Our participants had to do this in a virtual reality environment, meaning that they were wearing a pair of goggles, and through those goggles, their virtual room was rendered. As you can see in this picture, they're speaking in front of an audience composed of 12 avatars. These were programmed to follow the participants' movements with their eyes and heads. The trick is that we manipulated the picture that participants were looking at while giving the speech. Some participants spoke in front of an empty wall, while other participants spoke either in front of a portrait of Hillary Clinton, or Angela Merkel, or Bill Clinton. So this is how we expose our participants to either female or male political role models. And then we measured how long participants speak, because speaking time is usually a good measure of empowered behavior. Powerful people tend to speak longer. We also videotaped our participants, and we showed those videotapes to an external rater who was blind to our study hypothesis, but also to the picture that participants were looking at. And we asked this external rater to evaluate the quality of our participants' speeches. So what did we find? Well, in the absence of a role model, men spoke longer than women. When speaking in front of a portrait of Bill Clinton, we see the same gender performance gap. Men spoke longer than women. However, the picture of Hillary Clinton and Angela Merkel provided an empowerment boost for women and eliminated the gender performance gap. In fact, compared to the control conditions, women's speeches were 24% longer when speaking in front of Hillary Clinton and 49% longer when speaking in front of Angela Merkel. And the longer women spoke, the better their speeches were perceived by the external rater. So, in conclusion, our research shows that extremely powerful female role models do not threaten, but they inspire women's performance during a leadership task. So the first piece of advice that I would like to give to women with leadership aspirations is look for female role models. They can inspire you to perform better. However, there's another piece of advice that comes out of our research, and that is, if you are a female leader, be a role model for other women, and be a visible role model, as your visibility is likely to inspire those women who are striving to become leaders.